The Global Malaysia series is intended to get us as Malaysian corporates, Malaysian businesses, look outwards into sort of how to expand the regional as well as the global arena.
Leadership by example is very important. And we are so comfortable being multiracial here. The way to approach this is you must understand the local dynamics. We had this opportunity because foreign investment was needed. You need to spend, but you need to manage how you spend. We should really look carefully at how the government does its spend going forwards.
Welcome to the fourth installment of the Global Malaysia series, brought to you by the Economic Transformation Program. The Global Malaysia series is intended to sort of get us as Malaysian corporates, Malaysian businesses, and Malaysian individuals to kind of look outwards into sort of how to expand into the regional as well as the global arena. And today we have the fantastic pleasure of having Dato Sri Nazir Razak here with us. He needs no introduction other than the fact that he's leading one of the major investment banks in the region, the CIMB Group, and as managing director of the organization. Welcome. So, with that short introduction, just wanted to ask you, CIMB Group has positioned itself as an ASEAN player. When did the genesis of ASEAN enter your consciousness?
The history is that in the mid-2000s, which was 2005, we went on this transformation of CIMB from a Malaysian investment bank to a universal bank. Some of you will recall CIMB then bought Bumiputera Commerce, bought Southern Bank here in Malaysia, and of course also GK in Singapore. Right, those were the early pieces to essentially transform CIMB from investment bank to universal bank. And around 2007, this whole ASEAN Charter came up, and we kind of looked at it and said that, look, we are evolving from a Malaysian investment bank to a Malaysian universal bank, and starting to then say that we could do this across the region. And when ASEAN embraced this whole notion of AEC, ASEAN Economic Integration, by 2015, we noticed how that's very much aligned with what we were trying to achieve as a business. So then we embraced it. We aligned our business model to ASEAN, and that had various stages, but most recently we actually took ASEAN and put it in our tagline, ASEAN for you.
So 2004, 2005 sort of time frame. And when was it? So once you've developed that, the fact that you are trying to go with the ASEAN strategy, how was it in terms of looking at opportunities across the ASEAN region? Did you actively go out and seek deals or seek companies to acquire? Or was it kind of landed in your lap, through just normal deal flow that happens?
Once we had said that we wanted to be the ASEAN bank, we put this whole agenda into our internal vision statement to be the premier universal bank in ASEAN. Once we did that, it's automatic that we then want to have a strategy and ultimately a presence for every market in ASEAN. The first, if you look at the sort of mid-2000s, we then took on, by buying Bumiputera Commerce, we also took Bank Niaga in Indonesia. When we bought GK, we had stockbroking operations in most of the major markets in ASEAN. Then it's about scouting for more opportunities. And the way we did it was we looked at every market, opportunities and strategies. So we've decided that in more developed markets like Thailand, Philippines, we would have to buy. And Singapore, we would have liked to buy, but we couldn't find anything at a decent price. Then we decided that the less developed markets, we should take a different strategy, because the financial markets, they're so underdeveloped that you can actually ramp up very quickly. So like in Cambodia, we applied and got a new banking license, and we're trying to do the same in Vietnam. Yeah, so that's different strategies for different markets.
Mature markets buy, acquire, less mature markets, greenfield operations. So just to ask, then the RBS opportunity came up. RBS wanted to sell its assets in Asia. Now you have an ASEAN strategy, but then you also have, with RBS, you also have, sort of assets in North Asia, Korea, and even sort of India, I believe Taiwan as well. How does that fit into your ASEAN strategy?
We want to be the premier universal bank in ASEAN. But in order to achieve that, we believe that we need to have presence and operations in key markets that interface with ASEAN, that trade with ASEAN, that invest in and out of ASEAN. So if you take the RBS platform, it gave us new operations, investment banking operations in Australia, Taiwan, Korea, China, India, and also strengthened our presence in London and New York. And what it meant is that we actually have the on-ground investment banking people and capabilities to help investors who want to come into ASEAN and to help ASEAN clients who want to go into those countries. Yeah, so the problem is, like, and it's quite coincidental that the day I opened the Sydney office, our new Sydney operations, was the same day that the Australian government actually issued their white paper on the Asian century. Yeah, that this century is about Asia, and basically Australians have to be Asian. So then it perked a lot of interest. A lot of people came to CIMB.
Okay, let's go dive into ASEAN itself. ASEAN, there are challenges. I think you, for example, I think as you say, the Bank Niaga in Indonesia in 2002, and then at the time they could take a 97% stake, and it was actually very welcome because that was post-Asian financial crisis. Banks needed recapitalization, and Bank of Commerce stepped in. Then the regulatory frameworks changed. Things got better in Indonesia. Indonesia is now booming. And then the tune changed. Now, there was something that came out last year that said something along the lines of, banks can only own 40%, foreign banks can only own 40% of, Indonesian banks. How do you deal with that sort of unregulatory uncertainty, flip-flops even?
You take the good with the bad.
What's the good here?
And Indonesia is high growth, high margin place to do business, and we love it there. Yeah. But we live with changes in regulation, and we cope with it. My specific beef with the change was, of course, that if I tell you a little bit of the history, in 2002, we had spent 3 years stalking Bank Niaga then. In 2002, we became, when we bought Bank Niaga, we were the first foreigner to buy a bank from IBRA, their version of Dana Harta. At that time, they told me, they said, look, please put a good bid in. This is very competitive. So we put a good price on the table, and they said, and then I was so happy because they called me out and goes, congratulations, you're on the short list. So I said, oh, great, thank you. Who else is on the short list? Nobody, you're alone. Nobody wanted to go into Indonesia. Indonesia was going to be a failed state. When we announced it, our share price came down 25% within a week. We bought the bank at 1.48 times book. There was a yellow bank that bought a bank in Indonesia at 4 times book recently. Yeah, so you can see timing is everything. Yeah. Timing is important, yeah. But then a few years on, when everything is hunky-dory, suddenly they want to change the rules and force us to sell. So I kept telling them, I said, look, but at that time, we had this opportunity because foreign investment was needed, and it's not fair now that everything is hunky-dory that we're told to sell out. But the thing is, the way to approach this is you must understand the local dynamics, and you have to know that you're a foreigner, and don't face it head on. Just do it privately, and appeal to rationality.
So if you had any advice amongst the business folks, the entrepreneurs as well as the corporate guys amongst us this afternoon, this morning, in terms of doing business in ASEAN, what are the kind of things that you would advise them in terms of how to do it successfully?
In terms of management, you got to get the right people on the ground. I really think that ASEAN is so diverse that it's dangerous for you to go on this expansion and then just parachute Malaysians in each country, right? I think you really need to embrace local teams to do the management and make them feel that when they work for you, they're really part of your management team. My monthly management meeting now, the real group management team is multi-ASEAN. My CEO of Indonesia, CEO of Thailand, CEO of Singapore, we all meet round table, and they feel that they're running the company as a whole. So the Indonesian CEO also challenges the Singapore CEO about his business. And one day, when I look at succession, the Indonesia CEO or the Singapore CEO may take over as group CEO, because that's CIMB being a truly ASEAN company. So embracing the local management. And this is where, let me just wrap up by saying this, that we are so lucky to be Malaysian in that context. If you actually look at successful companies in the region, actually Malaysia has far more than its fair share. Why? I truly believe it's because how we all grew up. We are so comfortable being multiracial here, multicultural here, that when we deal with other ASEAN people, we actually just handle it much, much better than the more homogeneous nations of ASEAN.